Rev up your engines! We got a 92 Jeep Wrangler. The guy bought it from California. It's a standard transmission and it's stuck in first gear, so we got to figure out what's going on. But first, let's do an overall view of these things. Are they worth buying? Which one should you get and what should you look out for? First of all, this came from California, so it shouldn't be rusted, because these things are notorious rust buckets if they're up north. I mean, everything is rotten. As you can see, look, clean, clean. The springs are clean. These shackles would be rusted solid if it was a Massachusetts Jeep. And the first thing you're going to see is under the hood. I love the Jeep hoods because, yes, you can open them really a long way to do some work. There's lots of work room, and it isn't going to hit you in the head unless you're trying to work in a hurricane. Now, for my money, this is the best engine to get. You get the straight 6-cylinder engine. These sixes have plenty enough torque for getting you around. And as you can see, other than being dirty, no rust. Firewall's not rusted. You get a northern vehicle, everything. The hinges are going to be rusted, probably something well done. This will be all rotten, and it's not. This is a nice, clean California Jeep. And as we open the door, this is what most Jeep guys want. A standard 5-speed transmission, not an automatic. Because really these things are made for off-roading, right? The old-fashioned automatics weren't that great for off-roading. The modern ones, it's another story. They're completely different designs. You got 5 gears, you're not going to really have any problems doing off-road and going in a snow plowing, whatever you want to do. Since this is also an older one, check out the 4-wheel drive. You got 2-wheel high, 4-wheel high, neutral, and 4-wheel low. And what is it? It's mechanical. None of that electronic crap that's in modern cars, but it's still modern enough. You can see you don't have to mess with hub lockers and crap like that. You can see it's got universal joints in the end and the drive shaft. You don't have to mess around with hub locking. It's got a differential. You just do it mechanically with a lever. So let's start it up, see what it sounds like. Actually, it sounds pretty good. Got 120,000 miles, and generally they're good for a lot more than that. The only problem with this is it's stuck in first gear. No matter what you put it in, when you push up and pull on the clutch, it's not going to go anywhere. Just out of curiosity, I wiggled this around a bunch. Let's put it in reverse, see what happens. It went in reverse. Now it's going backwards. So we do have reverse now. Now the owner swore up and down that it was stuck in first gear, but he towed it over here. The act of towing it over here broke it out of being stuck in first gear. If you ever get one of these things that's stuck in first gear, tow it, push it, rock it back and forth, pull on the shifter. A lot of times it'll break itself loose. The reason that they get stuck there's only 3 real reasons. 1, if the clutch is worn out, they can do that. The clutch didn't feel that bad. 2, if you got a problem with the linkage, it would do it, but the linkage goes into the gear, so I doubt it was that. And the third one is, if the transmission has really serious internal wear, doesn't have enough fluid in it, somebody abused it, then it'll get stuck in first gear. So the first thing we're going to do is check the fluid. Now to check the fluid, you got to have it on a level surface, so I moved it down the driveway where it's flat. Now as we crawl under here, you see one thing that I don't like is this transmission has that stupid Ford design where the clutch slave cylinder is built inside the transmission. So if the clutch slave cylinder goes bad, instead of taking a couple bolts off and replacing it on the outside, these clowns put it inside. You got to pull the whole transmission off to replace it. Stupid design. It's a racing design. Hey, this isn't a racing vehicle. You go off-road and stuff, but it's not made for racing. It's too happen here. It'll flip over. Now, strangely enough, later model transmissions on these had the slave cylinder on the outside. So if you are looking at one, you might want to get a later model one that's got the slave cylinder on the outside instead of on the inside. Be a lot easier working on. Now the guy who owned it before him was a fireman in California, and you can see he did some decent mods. Bilstein shocks. He's got a fancy stainless steel exhaust system he's put on it. As I said before, man, this thing's solid. It does have a little superficial rust now because he's been driving around the beaches in Rhode Island. But you can see everything is solid. You get a solid vehicle like this, you really can't go wrong. Now we're going to check the fluid right here. We just take it out and see if it's full. You basically just unbolt it, and the fluid should start coming out a little. And it's full. So it's not low on fluid at all. So it's not a fluid problem. While we're under here, we'll take a look at what the linkages look like. Truthfully, they don't look bad. They're all clean. But we'll spray them with some WD-40 anyways. So I'll get the WD-40. We start spraying all the linkage with it. Now this shows how well built these things, and obviously it went off-road. This oil pan's been hit many times, but it's not dripping oil. Solid steel. That's why you want steel and not plastic. You want to put some kind of a protection plate on it. if you're really going insane rock crawling. Now let's hope that it's stuck because of external problems. Linkage sticking, because he did say it was stuck in first gear. And as soon as I got in, I could put it in neutral, first, fifth, and went all over the place. The act of towing these things, or if you're stuck somewhere, pushing it back and forth, can often break them loose. We'll take it for a spin and see how it goes. So I'll climb back in, and I do mean climb. These things are high up in the air. Start her up again. Put it in reverse. Back it up a little. And I've already figured out what's wrong with it. The clutch is worn out. It's not the transmission, it's the clutch. Because I got it reversed, but when I pushed on the clutch, it kept moving. It's not releasing, and then it got jammed in first gear. So what we'll do is this. Put it in first gear, start the vehicle, and we'll pull it back in. And we'll put it in neutral. So actually, it's good news for the owner. The transmission is fine, but it needs a clutch. And since it's got that stupid slave cylinder that's built inside the transmission, replace all the parts. The slave cylinder, the clutch pressure plate, the disc, the throttle bearing. Replace them all. What happened is, it got stuck in gear because the clutch isn't working right. When I backed it up, I got it in reverse, no problem. But then when I pushed down on the clutch, it wouldn't stop moving. That means that the clutch is not disengaging. We don't know the history of it, when the last time a clutch was put in it. I doubt if it's the original one, but you buy something like this, expect to put a clutch in it, you know, and put a good clutch in all the parts. Don't waste money haggling over pennies. If you're gonna go off-roading, get a heavy-duty one. The slave cylinder, you might as well change it because you gotta pull it off to change anyways, then you know. The only other thing that can go wrong is the clutch master cylinder, and that's external. You don't have to pull the transmission off, so if you don't want it, you don't change that later. But change the slave cylinder and change the clutch kit. He didn't ruin the transmission. It's not the transmission. And the fact that the guy towed it here 8-10 miles from here, just the jostling around, broke it out of first gear. And now it's going into gears, but I would not drive. He's going to tow it back because anytime you go, it's going to get stuck in gear. It's not safe to drive the way it is because then you're stuck in first gear. Now, if you lived down the street, sure, you could put it in first gear and drive it there, but it's a lot of stops between here and a giant bridge you got to go over, so he'll tow it back and he'll have a guy put a clutch in it. But now you know how you can check out to see, is it the clutch or is it the transmission? In this case, it's the clutch because it just would not disengage. It's physically broken inside. And yeah, I expect it on something this old, you know. And there's so many parts of these. Off-road, standard. If you're gonna go off-road, go for a heavier duty or clutch, believe me. You don't wanna burn it out while you're revving up, crawling around, so. But overall, it's a nice Jeep. You paid $7,500 for it, and it is clean. But like I said, if you're looking at one of these and you see all the frame and the shackles all rusted and falling apart, run away, run away. I've seen them where they got new bodies welded on, and you know, they made these things, they're made out of steel. So if you look at it one, bring a magnet with you. And if it falls off and you see it's fiberglass, it means the whole thing's been replaced with fiberglass. Don't buy one that's rotting out. They're made with steel. You want one with steel. Now, I mean, if you're a fanatic and you want to lighten it up, sure, you can buy one, take all the steel off, put fiberglass on. Go right ahead. And if you wanted one like that somebody converted, in that case, just make sure that the frame, they don't replace the frame with fiberglass. Make sure the metal frame is still solid and not rotten, because if it's rotten, you run away from these things. Why not to buy a Jeep Compass, even though they look cool? No one has to admit they're cool looking vehicles. There's no arguing that. They got a nice look to them. Now this particular one is a 2017, so it's 3 years after Fiat has taken over Chrysler. And as far as I'm concerned, that's 3 years into the Jeeps being made cheaper and cheaper. Even though it's a smaller vehicle, you can see the gross weight stuff, 45, 75 pounds. They are not lightweight vehicles. But if you look under the hood, it's only got a little 4-cylinder engine. And you couple that with an automatic transmission, you gotta get that engine spinning pretty fast, high RPMs, before it starts getting any decent acceleration. But even though it's a small engine, you can see down here, there's not much working room. You gotta work on these things, they're still pretty hard to work on. They put it in transversely and there's not that much working room. Now this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, as you can see when we go under. It's got drive going to the rear and drive going to the front wheels. But as you can also see here, it's not that high above the ground. So even though it's a Jeep 4-wheel drive, it's not really a serious off-road vehicle. It's not high up in the ground. It's more of an SUV with 4-wheel drive. As you can tell, it's got front doors and back door, so it's pretty much SUV styled. It has a kind of smallish below average room in the back seat, and it's got a trunk that's a smallish size. The Toyota Matrix my wife has is got a lot more space than this trunk has, and it's got a low slung luggage carrier on the top, but it's so small there really isn't all that much that you could hook up there. This is a high-end one, so it has video display, navigation camera, HID headlights, and leather seats, a Sirius radio, moonroof, and superficially it looks like a good vehicle, but it's made by Fiat Chrysler, and there's where the problem lies. If you want a long-term, reliable SUV, this is not the vehicle for you. Customer of mine that bought them invariably had problems. Some bought them new and had problems from the get-go with electronics, with transmission failure, right from brand new. Others bought them second-hand and saved a whole bunch of money. There's no arguing that. I've seen people buy them when they have 25,000 miles on them, and they pay well under 50% of the original sticker price, but there's a reason for that. The quality just is not there. Now, even though this only has a 4-cylinder engine, it's still pretty much a gas hog. In town, this car gets about 18 to 19 miles a gallon because it's heavy and it's 4-wheel drive. But at the same time, it doesn't have that great acceleration. I've seen V6 engines that get better gas mileage than this, that have much more horsepower. And let's face it, the modern Jeeps are nothing like the old Willys. These things aren't going to last forever. You might get a Toyota Matrix that's about this size. They might last you 300,000–400,000 miles easy. These things, you're lucky if you ever get anything over 100,000 miles out of them. The Compasses, they were basically made because they wanted to cash in on the Jeep name and make a small SUV that they can sell. But that is such a cramped market with such great vehicles already there. A wise person, they'd think twice before they plop their money down for one of these things. Just understand, for that price, you're getting a lot lower quality too. I mean, if you want to get something, you always want to have a Jeep, and you're driving 4,000 or 5,000 miles a year, hey, it might last a few years. But the Fiat technology that's put into these things, not known for longevity in the least. These things, as I said, they don't have the acceleration, and this is the bigger engine. This is the 2.4. They make a 2-liter that's even slower, and with all the weight that it's pulling around with the 4x4 system, it just is not a zippy vehicle to drive around, and at the same time it gets pretty crappy gas mileage. So you're really not getting the best of either world. It isn't particularly fast, and it doesn't get good gas mileage. It kind of makes me wonder what their engineering design was behind this thing. Other than just another one of Fiat Chrysler's idea of, oh, let's make something that looks cute, see if we can rush it out and sell it to people. Now, they are selling a reasonable amount. The first ones that they made, they only sold 60,000 of them, but 2018, they sold 160,000 of them. So they're banking on a Jeep name. It's paid them back some dividends. They're selling them. But really, the quality isn't there if you're looking for a long-term, small SUV that you can drive without having a lot of expensive repairs as they age. And believe me, the transmission repairs on these things, they're expensive, and they're also common as the vehicles get older. And when you look under the hood, you can see low quality. Look, here's the top. You can see that's all corroding. We'll go to the back. Look how all these nuts and bolts are all rusted and corroded. And that's on a vehicle that only has 30,000 miles. It could use better made metal. Could have better coatings on it. There's no arguing that. It's a big reason I'd never advise one of my customers to buy one of these if they really value their money over time. Now, when you take in consideration all the Italian designs and even actual Italian parts that they're starting to use in these Jeeps, the quality is nothing like they were back in the 50s or 60s or even the 70s. As the saying goes, what's in a name? In this case, the name Jeep often works to sell things to people. Selling over 160,000 of them last year. It seems to be working. Let's say you bought a loaded 2018 4-wheel drive. You're talking about $29,000. And if you are comparing that to an all-wheel drive Toyota RAV4 the same year, that thing's about $38,000. So this thing's almost $10,000 cheaper than a Toyota. And yes, it is a cheaper made vehicle. There's no arguing that, which is one of the reasons that they can sell them. Price matters a lot. But if you're looking for long-term reliability, low cost of upkeeping it, maintaining it, I'd stay far away from this Jeep Compass. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.